Hi class, in this video I'll be working through some homework problems from our statistics unit. This is topic 4, problem solving skills. For this topic we're working through just a variety of different problems to solve, equations or word problems. You can certainly use your calculator as you're working through this homework assignment. So let's take a look at the first one. It says solve the linear equation for the variable z. You should be used to solving equations like this, but you may never have done it with decimals. So go ahead and grab your calculator. The first thing we'll do is subtract 0.469 from both sides. That gives you a decimal of 0.26832 equals 0.104z. Now we'll divide by 0.104, and that will give us a value of z equals 2.58. And that's your final answer. Okay, let's do that again. This is solve the equation. Round your answer to 2 decimal places. The first thing we need to do to solve this equation is use the distributive property. I'm going to rewrite it down here. It's 0.42x minus 0.4x minus 0.48, and that equals 0.3 times 7 is 2.1. The next thing we can do is collect like terms. 0.42x minus 0.4x is 0.02x minus 0.48 equals 2.1. From here, I just want you to solve for x. Add 0.48 to both sides. That gives you 0.02x equals 2.58. To find x, divide 2.58 by 0.02 for a final answer of 129. The instructions did say round your answer to 2 decimal places. We have a whole number, but because it specifically says 2 decimal places, go ahead and put a decimal after the 9 and add 2 zeros, and that's your final answer. Okay, next question says the table shows the projected number n in millions of people living in the United States. And then a model for the data is n equals 3.21 t plus 277.3, where t represents time in years, with t equals 20 corresponding to the year 2020. And here's the question: according to the model, in what year will the population exceed 540 million? Round your answer to the nearest year. When you first read this problem, it might be a little confusing because you have this table over here and it doesn't extend anywhere past 389.5 million, and the question is asking about 540 million, and so it could get confusing, but it's really not so bad. We're going to take the 540 million and substitute it into this equation for the letter n. So if I rewrite that equation, it's 540 equals 3.21 t plus 277.3. And now I want you to go ahead and solve for t. First thing is we'll subtract 277.3 from both sides. When you subtract, you get 262.7 equals 3.21 t. Now divide both sides by 3.21 to get an answer of t equals 81.838. Now if you go back to the original problem, it says round your answer to the nearest year. If we were to round to the nearest year or the nearest whole number, we would round to 82, so t would be 82. But it doesn't really make sense if we just type in 82. And so I want to take you back to a phrase in the word problem right here where it says with t equals 20 corresponding to the year 2020. So when t equals 20, it really means 2020. So in our example, when t equals 82, it really means 2082. So your final answer is the year 2082. Okay, next it says use the equation and solve for x. And it has given us quite an equation there. It says determine the number of gallons of a 15% solution that must be mixed with a 30% solution to obtain 6 gallons of a 25% solution. Okay, when you read this problem, again, it seems like it's super difficult, but part of the problem solving exercises is that I want you to be able to read problems like this, not fully understanding what they're asking, but still be able to use the information given to solve for the correct answer. Here are 2 important pieces of this problem. You have been given an equation, and here in parentheses, you have been given values for those variables in that equation. The first thing I want you to do is substitute those values back into that equation. So that would look like P1 is 0.15. We don't have a value for x, so I'll leave that variable as x, plus P2 is 0.3, parentheses. I do have a value for a, which is 6. I don't have the value for x, so I'm going to say minus x. Close those parentheses, equals P3 is 0.25 times a, which is 6. With a little bit of algebra, we can work through this equation to solve for x. The first thing is to use the distributive property. So I'm going to rewrite the equation as 0.15x plus 1.8 minus 0.3x equals 1.5. Next, I want you to collect like terms. 0.15x minus 0.3x is negative 0.15x plus 1.8 equals 1.5. From here, subtract 1.8 from both sides. So you have negative 0.15x equals negative 0.3. Now divide both sides by negative 0.15. Running out of room here to get a final answer of 2. So for this problem, all of those decimals in the crazy equation produced an answer of x equals 2. Okay, for this next problem, we're going to do a similar exercise. We have an expression and we have values to substitute into the expression and reduce it down to one number. So part A, let's go ahead and do the substitutions. It'll be negative 7 times 3 minus 3 over 0 plus 2 times 3. Now you can use your calculator here, or you can just work through some orders of operation. The numerator is negative 21 minus 3. The denominator would be 0 plus 6, which is 6. If we take it one more step, that's negative 24 divided by 6, which is negative 4. So that's the answer to the first part. The second part, we're using the same expression except different values. So if we use the values for part B, negative 3 times 3 minus 3 over negative 2 plus 2 times 3. Again, you can type this into your calculator or just work through orders of operation. The numerator is negative 9 minus 3 over negative 2 plus 6. It's negative 12 over 4, which reduces to negative 3. So that's your answer for part B. Okay, another part of problem solving is taking an abstract equation and rearranging the terms to solve for a specific variable. In this example, you have t plus rt equals s. We have no idea what that equation represents, but the instructions say solve for r. So the first thing you need to do is subtract t from both sides. So now we have r times t equals s minus t. Now we're going to divide each term by t to get r equals s over t minus t over t. You could also combine those together because there's common denominator, so it could be s minus t over t. That's the answer I would probably put. So final answer, and it already has the r equal part, is s minus t over t. Okay, that's all the questions I'm going to work through on this video. Please let me know if you have any questions on your homework assignment.